I'm your host Ben, and I've got my co-host H&H Trader in the building, and it's time for
So
your daily Monday through Friday episode of The Last Rip, where we take a look at top low float runners on the day, recap any trades we took, and see if there's going to be any trades for the following day. So time is our most valuable asset. Let's not waste any more of it and dive right in. So first, we always take a look at the SPY. SPY we've got pushing up to new highs at 440. Now on this drop we had the other day, didn't crack the 50 and held, so it's still pushing up and it just pushed for new highs. So Hal, what do you think? Monday market continues to run, comes back down.
the current pattern is that it'll do a little drop. People buy and buy and buy on that drop, and they push it higher. It just seems like it's going to run out of that pattern at some point, but it's completed this pattern. I don't know what, six,
A
10
lot of
times.
times, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the exact same
So
pattern. I don't even think it's people. I think it's the Federal Reserve. I think every time we have one of these drops, it's them slowing down, they're tapering, and then when the market
yeah.
starts to get to that 50, they just pump it back up because it's too repetitive. The same thing over and over again.
Yep, and that's why I've been scared to trade the VX or VIXY
Mm-hmm.
because every time it
Yep.
reverses. So, you
Yeah,
know,
them bears are getting caught. That's for sure. Other than that, I mean, it just pretty much went up all day Friday. No real pullbacks or anything. News, I think, was pretty lax. So it was a good, strong close on the week. We'll see if it can continue into Monday, if that hype continues, or if we start to pull back a little bit. On a side note, cryptos have started to heat back up. Maybe they could start taking some volume away from the market because it seems like we see that when one heats up, the other one kind of slows down a little bit. So NAOV had some compelling study results for
hmm
their Journal of Medicine or whatever, and Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration approval for their EuroShield system. I didn't even see this PR, so it didn't even matter. I guess it brought in some hype, but this is one of those PRs I've been talking about because ever since Neuro and a couple of other those medical companies ripped, you were starting to see a lot of nonsense PR from these low float medical companies. You know, they're putting out things
yeah,
like compelling study results. That's not
yeah.
objective. So
I guess it was kind of like some continuation sentiment from Neuro. You know, Neuro actually had good news, and then it didn't take much for another little medical stock to move.
no. But this one just started breaking out midday there. Popped up on my scanner and ran from about 68 cents up to $1. And that's when I was like, okay, if this breaks the dollar, and this is the dollar breakout pattern I talk about, but it hasn't held above $1 since about March. So when there's that much time between a stock that's below $1 and it finally gets above $1, a lot of times you see this type of move. Now this one had about 24 million shares, so probably 22 million in float.
hmm
But you can see I bought in there at the break of $1, ran up about $1.27. It got halted around to like $1.20, and then I locked it out there. I had no idea this was going to run this big, but this could be one for Monday to keep an eye on. Held all of its
Yeah.
gains. I mean, it closed in after hours at 286.
Yeah, I'll be kind of looking for some more news, because for news to come out on a Friday like that, it's kind of weird, kind of sketchy. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely be looking for some more data.
Yeah, and I would say because this move was so big today that Monday probably will be a pullback day, and then maybe later in the week we could see NAOV get some attention, unless some other stock pops up with
Yeah.
big news and big volume.
Or unless NOV or whatever it is does a offering.
Yeah, that is
That
something to be aware of. When you have a company that was under $1 get over $1, they could drop a common offering at any time and just destroy the price of this. You traded Neuro on Friday.
Yeah, man, Neuro tore me a great big new one, bro. Man, Neuro did not. I traded it for the three days. The first 2 days were great days. Took profit. came back the third day as a vulture and got absolutely decapitated. But yeah, I did make a little bit of money on back on XBIO, but
Where'd you
man,
get in at
Neuro
Nero? Was you in pre-market?
Neuro scalped my account.
Scalps your account, yeah. Where'd you get? You got in pre-market, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Which
yeah, I got in on that little dip. Let's see,
right here?
what day are you on? Yeah. So it came up to that dip, and when it came down to the what looks like your purple line, that's when I got in for the bounce back up to the top, but it just never gave that move back up.
So you didn't catch up to 29 there?
Nah, I saw it move. I saw it do that, and that's what made me think, okay, this thing may come back down and kind of do like a flag pattern and go back up. Really, right around your little purple line right there. Yeah, right in
Right here?
there was where I was kind of looking, and it tried,
Yeah, you can
but
see
it
that little
got pushed
wick.
down
Yeah,
through the floor.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I was in it, but I was stupid. I held it like an amateur and just, took one for the team, and it
Took
was a
one
big
for the
girl.
team. This is a big girl, yeah. Well, sometimes you take some losses. You try to be disciplined as much as you can, but sometimes you get greedy and you gotta scale it back and be like, hey, this
Yep.
one's felling on me. I gotta cut tail and run. Now,
Yep.
this is the new strategy that I've been using, and actually, you can see where that gray line started crossing the purple line. That's where you sell at on this strategy. So right
Yeah.
there would have been the indicator to get out of this, because once that
Yeah.
gray line crosses the purple line, it's going down.
Yeah,
But I
man.
stayed away from Neuro on
I
Friday.
should have. I would have been up $120 if I stayed away from it.
Yeah. So
Yep.
MDG
I wish they had coupons.
coupons, yeah. So MDGS was another pretty decent runner at the beginning of the day, and this is another one I traded. This one was one I took a loss on. I think it looks like it was a loss. Yeah, so I got in 200 shares
Are you?
multiple times around that $2 area. I did buy some up at 220,
Hmm.
looking for that push. But I was letting it ride right up this trend line, and then you see the crack right there, the gray to the
Yeah.
downside of the purple, and I got out. So, it wasn't a huge loss. I think it was like a $15 loss. But MDGS did have some pretty good news, but once again, it was kind of one of those PRs that doesn't really actually mean much. So, like right here,
Yeah.
their gel shows potential. Well, that doesn't mean anything. You can anything can show potential, but that doesn't mean it's going to actually get approved and used in the markets. And you can see that too, where it couldn't even hold its gains the rest of the day. You got into some XBIO. Now this was a pretty big rip, and I missed all of XBIO, but I barely even saw how this played out.
Yeah. My entry, I can show you my entry. The next red candle.
The
Right there. That
indecision.
was my entry. Yep.
Yeah, so you got
And
on
I
the indecision there, yeah.
yep. And that is the 3 bar play.
Oh yeah, you got the green bar up,
Yep.
little push up, and then you got an indecision candle followed by that engulfing bullish candle, and then
Yep.
you get the nice move up. That was a good entry there anyway. Anytime you got indecision followed by that bullish engulfing candle, you
Yeah.
usually get some type of move out of it. Now, did this
Yeah.
get halted any?
No, because I
No,
got
never
in,
got halted.
yeah, I got
Okay.
in 200 shares and it just kind of grind. It was like grinding. It wasn't moving like super good. It was just but it was going like an old man.
Well, it had tons of volume. I mean, 300 million in volume on Friday. That's a big volume increase for this, because down here on the daily chart, there's like barely any little volume pops. This may be one to keep on watch, as it is above all the indicators, but I don't like this big upper wick. The way it closed, it gave back most of its gains, and looking back at this daily chart, it does that. There's a big
Yeah,
upper wick there, big upper wick there, upper wick there. There's a big gap up, and it sold all of that gap up off. So this is one
yeah,
of those ones where if you are going to trade it, you pretty much want to get in and out pretty fast when you
yep.
see that on the daily chart.
That was my plan. As soon as I saw weakness, I started taking off because that thing, man, I'm telling you, it looked like it could drop to the floor every second.
Now, this was the other trade I took, and this one I did make in the live stream, and this was like a $60 win here. But I got 30 shares. Looking at NXRP, it had climbed over the last couple of days. Friday, it was in pre-market getting some pushes up, but it was having this little
flat top.
Yeah, a little flat top there, and then I just put a downtrend line right there.
Mm-hmm.
A little short-term downtrend line, looking for it to break that downtrend line, and started pushing up over it. I actually got in a little early before the downtrend break at 1881, but then we got that downtrend and just a nice pop up to 22, and that's all I was looking for, because that 22 was the 200-day moving average. So 30 shares and you get $2 a share, then you know that's 60
and what
bucks.
was this one? What was this ticker?
This was NXRP. They had some FDA news. Just another one of those pharmaceutical stocks. So, I mean, right now there is a trend. Pharma stocks are hot, or at least they were the last week. We'll see if that trend continues into tomorrow or not, but so far it looks like pharma stocks are going to continue to be hot. So NXRP could be one to keep on watch next week too, as it did break and hold over the 200-day moving average on the daily. And this thing has made some big rips in the past. So this was December last year. It ripped from 34 all the way up to 81 in one day.
Boy.
And there's a couple of big runs like that all through here where it did hold most of its gains. It didn't on this candle, but a lot of these big green candles held most of them.
Yeah, you got a lot of resistance ahead. I would say, yeah, there you go. Yeah, if it breaks out of there, and that may be a good sign of strength. I would definitely be looking for a catalyst with this one, though, if it's gonna break, so it kind of be some confirmation.
Yeah, it definitely has potential, though, so keep that one on your watch list, guys. Is there any tickers you got in mind that you're keeping an eye on besides NURO?
I don't even know if I'm gonna trade NURO again, really. It's a more expensive stock. I usually trade below $15, but now it's like, and the thing is, it's kind of lost its momentum. If it was gonna go to 70 or something like that, it would still be going strong. You know what I'm saying? But to come down and break 20, it held
it though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but
if it holds 20 for a day or two, then that means that the sellers have given up on it, and buyers could just come in and push it up.
Maybe, or we could come in on a Monday and see a huge gap down.
Yeah, well, that's true. If it gaps down in pre-market Monday morning, then yeah, that's going to change the whole play. But I'm saying if it holds over 20 through Monday, even if it doesn't do anything Monday, as long as it holds above 20, we could see volume start coming back in it. I think, I would still keep NURO on watch just for Monday to see that. And then and if it holds, then it could still be on watch. But see, SCKT, this one took some souls. It looked like.
I hate this stock. Last year, I saw this thing go to the moon. It had a shelf registration just like it had this year. And man, when I tell you that thing was wicking out, I'm talking about like a stop order above the price, and I put it way out. I was like, there's no way it's gonna get up there, bruh. When I tell you it jumped like a wick, like it was probably maybe $1.20 wick. It got me in, popped down, $50 gone, and paid the shorts real quick, and was like, oh my! I mean, how do you expect a wick to go $1.20 and come back down? How?
Sometimes with these low floats, anything can happen. And it only has 7 million shares outstanding, so the float is probably around like 5 million. So it doesn't take much to push it one way or other. I mean, you can even see this on the chart here. Let's see, that was right at pre-market. It looks like it maybe had gap down or something in the 631, and then just immediately shot back up. That's a 5-minute candle. And that doesn't even look right on this chart. Like the flow, the price was way up here. So this definitely has some wacky stuff.
I made the decision not to trade this one based on previous times. Even if it went to the moon, I was like, nope. That was pretty much it for me. That's all I really saw. The very open, there were a couple of weak little moves, but I just let those go and just was like, well, I'll just let it calm down. Especially when I was in NURO losing my money, of course, at the open. But I was definitely looking out, and when I saw XBIO, I said, "Oh my goodness, I got to take this one." And the thing is, I burned a little bit too much capital on NURO. I went in a little bit. I'm glad I didn't go in bigger,
Yeah.
but I went in a little bit too much. I would have had a lot more money to get about 500 or 600 shares of XBIO, and it was I think I had a 59 cent move. So on those 200 shares, it was like $85 or something like that. But with more money, I was like, bruh, this could have been a. And then I had the perfect entry. I showed you my entry on the little red candle,
Oh yeah.
but oh well. You win some, you lose some, but keep
Yeah.
your winners bigger than your losers.
Exactly, exactly. And there's a lot of people that I've seen lately that are kind of beating themselves up about leaving money on the table, or not that same thought process you just said, that if I would have got this many shares, it could have been such a good win. And that's a
Yeah.
really, in my opinion, a bad mind state to get into, because if you get into it, you got to get out of it. If you go into every day thinking, "Oh, yesterday, man, if I would have done this, it would have been, this. It could have been this big run," and then you go in the next day thinking, "Oh, if I should do what I did yesterday," and that you go $1,000 or whatever, 1,000 shares, and then you get destroyed. So you gotta be
Yep.
careful with that mind state.
With that, the guys in my chat that were watching, they saw me take a $300 loss, right? I mean, it was, well, actually it was $400 at first before I took the XBIO trade, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, here goes revenge trading," but they don't understand my stress level. I know my psychology,
Yeah,
so I just took a $300 loss on a trade, and then the very next trade, I almost took like $100 win. So I was like, you got to be able to clear your mind and say, okay, I know my strategy works. I know what I did wrong on that previous one, which was I got emotional and I held too long. But I still know my strategy works. And that's what gave me the confidence to get back in there. If you can't do that, don't press the buy button.
yeah, yeah. And if you haven't got your head clear, go ahead and
Yeah.
just take a break. And it was a Friday too. I mean,
Hmm.
Fridays are always a little wonky, and that's what I came into the market with, that mindset of, "Oh, I'm going to be defensive." So that's why I only took the 3 trades, and I didn't go crazy on any of them, because Fridays are just always, sometimes they can have big breakouts, and then sometimes everything just breaks down. Alf may be ready for another move. Looking at it on the daily chart, it had its big original move and then it sold off, but bounced off the 50-day and is holding that up. If it can break this downtrend right through here, we
How
could
long
see.
was that big move ago? Is that a couple of days or what is this?
This is a daily chart, so each candle's a
Okay.
day. So that was actually about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because it looks like it found the bottom right there on your blue line.
yeah, that's what I was talking about right there. So if it can just break that downtrend, then this thing can start moving again. There is resistance at $15. You can kind of see it right across the tops of all those candles.
Hmm.
But I would say keep Alpha on watch for next week for a possible another move. Now SPRT on the daily chart, and this is about 24 million shares outstanding, so probably 22 million in float. But on the daily
Hmm.
chart, it's been making this upward movement. It actually looks like it's primed to break $6 for a strong break, because it tried to do it Thursday and got held up at 7 and sold its gains off, and then yesterday it closed over 6.
Hmm.
So, and looking at this, there's no resistance back through here. Wide open chart. And also, this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Here's the head, shoulder, shoulder. So, yeah, I would say high alert on SPRT for next week.
What's the those tops there on the bottoms of the shoulders? Like go up a little bit, bring your cursor up. What's that top right there?
Right here,
Right there. Yeah.
530 ish, 525.
That's where I would put my support. I would say, okay, if it comes through here, I'm getting out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
For
getting out.
sure. For sure, no doubt. But I actually like this a lot. This inverse head and shoulders pattern is primed to go for Monday.
Yeah.
And it's got room up to $10 pretty much. I mean, it could get held up at the top of this, maybe at 8.
It could actually double top on that little wick right there. That green candle wick. What is that?
696. So 7
696.
Yeah, so 7's
I
going to
would,
be some resistance.
yeah, I would definitely be watching that for a bounce off.
Yeah, but it's got the potential because there's nothing else on the daily
Oh yeah,
chart.
if it breaks that and holds,
Yeah.
yeah, it might be a little ride.
But yeah, other than that, there's not really too many other stocks on my watch list. How's any other ones you got on your watch list? Or are you just waiting
Now,
for Monday to get
yeah,
back into it?
Monday will be the day that. I mean, Monday is always the day I'm looking for news because Monday is usually the regular news day. That's why I was kind of looking at NOAV or whatever it was kind of sketchy because a Friday news break
Yeah.
that just is weird to me.
And it was midday too, so it was very
Yeah.
strange. Coming into a new week, and this is the last week of the month, so expect towards the end of the week to slow down.
Hmm.
Usually at the end of a month, the last couple of days, you have a slowdown, kind of like a transition period into the new month. So I'd say we'll
Yeah.
start out hot at the beginning of the week, and then we'll probably see everything slow down uh,
Hmm.
starting by Thursday.
There'll only be like 5 traders going super aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it for this episode of The Last Rip. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.